Alrighty, welcome back. I coach community, team, family. Super excited to be hopping on a podcast here today. Guys, today's topic is going to be all about the new year, being that it's 2022. A lot of people here as we're approaching the new year, and well, here we are, it's day 26 of the new year, right? And so there's been a lot of people that I've talked to, clients that have come and started the process of working with iCoach, who have tried a lot of different things here in the past, whether that be Whole30 or keto or low carb or whatever it may be there in terms of kind of starting off their new year, right? November and December are rough. If you look, most people on average gain about 15 pounds from October 31st to January 1st. And it's no surprise, right? I mean, it's so easy to do with the holidays. You've got Halloween, you've got Thanksgiving, you've got Christmas, you've got New Year's, right? And any other holidays there that you may celebrate. And so it's really, really easy to kind of fall off, if you will, right? And to, essentially just start eating a lot more unhealthy and drinking a lot more alcohol, throughout that time period there. If you look at the stats, the majority of alcohol sales are in the month of December, November and December there. And so, this is something that so many people struggle with. And, I've talked to a lot of different people here throughout this month. And so really what this podcast is all about here for today is I want to be able to kind of dive into, for those of you that are doing something like Whole30 or are doing anything under the sun, right? I don't want to knock any programs or any diets or anything like that whatsoever. I think the big question that I just want to challenge you with here, for those of you that are listening or watching this podcast, is if you're doing something right now that you don't think that you can actually do for the rest of this year, for the rest of your life, then what is the point of doing it, right? And for some of you, maybe you want to just try something out. Maybe you don't know that it's not sustainable, right? But the one that always comes to mind during this time of year in January is Whole30. Again, there can be a lot of really good things that come out of Whole30, but I think if we're honest with ourselves, for most people, they're not going to be able to do Whole30 for the rest of this year or for the rest of their life. It's just too restrictive in nature. And so what I want this podcast to be about is I want us to be able to kind of, think about this and think about your goals and what you're trying to accomplish here in the new year, and really be able to break the cycle, right? The start and stop cycle of, essentially going all in on something or starting on something that you think is going to, get you into a healthier state or get you to a place where you're able to, lose weight or accomplish whatever health goal that you're wanting to accomplish there. Because again, for most people, they're feeling guilty or they're feeling like crap from these last 2 months, and they're just looking for a reset or a restart, right? You see people doing detoxes and cleanses and all of these different things that are out there. And from a nutrition and fitness and supplement industry, y'all are being marketed at heavier than ever before right now. And so hopefully, what I can offer here is just some peace of mind as to, hey, you don't have to go and do these crazy extreme things in order to live a healthy lifestyle. And I think that's the journey that so many people are trying, or that are on and are trying to accomplish, is how can I find something that works best for me? How can I find something that works best for my lifestyle, right? How can I figure out a way to not just lose weight, right, but actually keep the weight off, right? And how can I really break the cycle of gaining the 15 pounds during the holiday season, only to work my butt off there in January to lose it, and then realize that, hey, what I'm doing here is just not sustainable, and eventually falling right back into, your habits that you have kind of had your whole life. So my first question is, when you're thinking about any of these diets or any of these programs or detoxes or cleanses or whatever it is that's out there, the first question is, can I do this for the rest of my life? And if the answer is no, well, why are you going to do this, right? And if you have a valid answer as to why, fine, that makes sense, right? Maybe you just want to experiment. Maybe you want to try something like Whole30. You've never done it before. You want to see what comes out of it. But I cannot tell you how many conversations I've had with people about Whole30 specifically, where they're like, oh yeah, I can do this. I can keep doing this. I can do this for the rest of my life. And then 2 months later, 3 months later, it's not happening anymore. And so I think instead of trying to fit yourself into this cookie cutter box of a diet, well, why don't we try to start building something, customizing and individualize something that actually works best for you? And so that's what I do with iCoach. That's what I do with all of the clients that I work with. I've been a nutritionist and nutrition coach and personal trainer now. It's kind of been an evolution, but I started in the field when I was 18 years old. I'm 30 now. It's been 12 years. I've worked with over 1,000 clients one-on-one. I've helped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients achieve sustainable weight loss. And that's really what I do as a coach. More often than not, those are the clients that I'm working with. They're the clients that are looking to lose weight, right? And not just lose weight, but feel better, right? And look better and perform better and figure out a solution to this problem, not only for them, but for their family as well, for their kids, right? And knowing that they're leading by example there, and they don't want their kids to have to sit here and deal with, this cycle of starting and stopping and feeling like they're, constantly trying to lose weight only to gain it back plus more. Okay. So step one here is do an initial assessment, right? Do an audit of your life, assess what's actually going on, right? I love to use the example of the big rock example, the mason jar example, right? So if I have a mason jar and you said, hey, what are the things that matter most in terms of living a healthy lifestyle? Well, those things are going to be sleep, nutrition, exercise, hydration, and stress management. Okay. A sixth rock would be personal development there. But you really have to assess and ask yourself, okay, where in these areas am I doing well? And where in these areas am I struggling? So by definition, with the sleep side of things, we need 7 to 9 hours of sleep as a human being, right? So start there. If you're not getting at least 7 hours of sleep, good quality sleep consistently, then start there, right? And a lot of the times that question becomes, okay, well, what do I have to do in terms of creating an adult bedtime for myself, right? So that I can actually go to bed on time to be able to wake up at whatever time I have to wake up that next morning, right? And so tracking this is the most important part. And you can use, whatever, a Whoop band or an Apple Watch or a Nula Ring or any of these different tracking devices, or you can just keep it as simple as using like a Google Sheet and creating a habit tracker, or using a calendar there and putting an X or an O, right? But you need to start prioritizing getting an adequate amount of sleep. That is the most important habit that you could ever incorporate into your life. Okay. The next one is going to be nutrition, right? And so there's a lot of different ways to go here with nutrition, but ultimately you've got to make sure that you're prioritizing both the quality of your nutrition as well as the quantity of your nutrition. Okay. And what I mean by that is we need to eat healthy foods the majority of the time that are in portions, right, or in quantities that support our lifestyle and our goals. So two big aspects of that would be making sure that you're actually cooking the majority of your own food. If you're somebody that's just constantly eating out fast food, restaurant food all the time, always having other people cook your food, it's going to be really, really hard for you to understand what's actually going into your food. It's going to be really, really hard for you to understand the quantity side of the equation. And that's where that next part comes in, is learning the quantity side, learning how many calories are you actually consuming on a daily basis, right? I would say on average, most clients that come to me, even if they've tracked their food before on maybe like an app like MyFitnessPal, they come to me with basically like a 500 to 1,000 calorie discrepancy in how many calories they think that they're eating versus how many calories they're actually eating. So learning how to actually log your food properly, right, and learn how many calories that you're actually eating on a daily basis is so incredibly important, right? If you have a goal of losing weight and you know that you need to eat in what's referenced as a calorie deficit in order to accomplish that goal, there's no way for you to know whether or not you're eating in a calorie deficit if you're not actually tracking your calorie intake. With that said, it's really hard to track your calorie intake properly and accurately if you're not actually weighing and measuring your food, right? You see people all the time that are putting generic entries into MyFitnessPal, right? They had a cheeseburger and they're just searching cheeseburger rather than actually breaking down that each individual ingredient that is in that burger there. And so learning the skill set, developing the skill set of tracking your food intake is something that is imperative to your success. It's not something that you have to feel strapped to. It's not something you have to feel that you have to do for the rest of your life. But if you've never done it before, and if you've never worked with a coach one-on-one to ensure that you're actually doing these things accurately, it's going to be really, really challenging for you to lose weight or to improve your body composition or to start feeling better there. Okay, so that would be nutrition, both quality and quantity, kind of breaking that down. From there, the hydration aspect of things. And so you've probably heard before, you need to drink half of your body weight in fluid ounces of water each day. If you have, if you're at a higher weight and you have a lot of weight to lose, and regardless if you have a lot of weight to lose, you got to meet yourself where you are, right? And so when you do this initial assessment and you start to see, okay, well, how many fluid ounces of water am I actually drinking on a daily basis? That's step one. Okay. And once you do that, once you assess that, then you can slowly start working up towards that target number there. Okay. The other side with the hydration is going to be in the caffeine intake, right? How much caffeine are you consuming on a daily basis? So the current recommendation there is to try to keep caffeine intake to 200 to 300 milligrams a day or less. And so typically one normal cup of coffee is going to be about 100 milligrams of caffeine. So if you're drinking energy drinks, or if you're drinking pre-workouts, or if you're just drinking coffee all day, you really need to assess how many milligrams of caffeine are you actually consuming on a daily basis, and trying to make sure that you're keeping that number under 200 to 300 milligrams there. The third component of hydration status is going to be an alcohol intake, right? Obviously, alcohol intake doesn't help anybody accomplish their goals. It doesn't make you feel better. It doesn't make you look better. It doesn't make you perform better. So starting to ask yourself the question as to, okay, well, how many alcoholic beverages am I consuming per week, right? And what does that look like? Am I somebody that's having a glass of wine every single night? Am I somebody that's drinking more than I would like on the weekends? Regardless of the relationship there, starting to track your alcohol intake and actually log your alcohol intake into an app like MyFitnessPal, that's going to give you the awareness that you need to start learning how many calories are coming from alcoholic beverages there. Okay, so that'd be kind of the three components there with hydration status. The next one there is going to be with the exercise, right? And so exercise is one of those things where, there's two parts. There's non-exercise activity, and then there's exercise activity. One of the most undervalued aspects of exercise is going to be that non-exercise piece, right? And that would be your NEAT, or your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That just means it's a fancy word for basically getting you to prioritize how many steps you're actually walking each and every day. I would say on average, most clients that come to me that are, they're working from a computer, they're working at a desk, or sitting down at a desk all day, they might be coming in at 2,000-3,000 steps a day. And that's not a lot, right? And I'd argue the goal, right? A lot of times you'll hear like 10,000 steps a day. Maybe for some people that's a good goal. Maybe for others, just slowly starting to increase that number up. If I can get you from 2,000 to 3,000 steps a day up to 7,000 plus steps a day, that is a huge accomplishment. I'll have clients all the time that will lose 10, 15 pounds just from incorporating that one habit alone. Okay, so making sure that from a non-exercise activity standpoint, that you're not just sitting down all day, that you're getting up, you're moving your body, you're being active, you're making it a point to live an active lifestyle. Okay, and then on the workout side of it, really the goal here would be to work out 3 to 5 days a week. That's a great goal to be able to try to stay consistent with. And in those, we want to make sure we're incorporating both strength training and cardio. Right? Cardiovascular training there. One without the other is going to be a disservice to you. We need to make sure that we're doing the strength training so that we can build muscle. And we want to make sure that we're doing the cardiovascular work there to help, improve our cardiovascular system, to be able to prioritize our heart health and so on and so forth there. So making sure that both strength training and cardio is being prioritized, and ultimately working out 3 to 5 days a week on a consistent basis. Again, if you're not working out at all, that's going to be a huge jump. We don't want to do the all or nothing mindset when it comes with this. We want to meet you where you are, and we want to slowly start to work to where you should be. Okay. And then the fifth component is going to be stress management. And so just essentially asking yourself on a daily basis, where are my stress levels at? Do I feel like I have high stress, medium stress, low stress? And what am I doing to combat that stress? Am I actually doing things on a weekly, monthly, maybe even daily basis to be able to help me manage the stress that's in my life? And that's ultimately what gets you out of that reactive place and gets you into a more proactive place, to where that you feel like you actually have control over your habits and your actions and the way that you're living your life. And so when we think about that mason jar example, those are the 5 big rocks. Those are the things that matter most: sleep, nutrition, hydration, exercise, and stress management. Okay. And I would start there with those basic habits before you try to dive into anything else. Everything else is going to be kind of the pebbles and the sand and the water of that mason jar example, the things that just don't matter as much, things that don't move the needle as much there. And so when I first start working with a client, that's step one, right? We've got to do an initial assessment. We've got to figure out, what you're currently dealing with, and we've got to be able to meet you where you are in this journey. right? Because living a healthy lifestyle is definitely a journey. It's a lifelong journey. And for so many people that I work with, and maybe some of you that are listening to this right now, it's something that you haven't really embarked on yet. Or maybe you've started and stopped and started and stopped and started and stopped, and you haven't really figured out something that actually works best for you. You haven't really figured out essentially the lifestyle or the type of eating, the type of dieting, the type of exercise that actually works best for you and your family and the lifestyle that you want to be living there. And so first step is initial assessment, right? And in that initial assessment process, this is where you can start to track these things. So just take 7 days, take a week, right? Track your sleep for a week. How many hours of sleep did I get every single night here for 7 days, right? On the nutrition side of it, take a picture of every single thing that you eat and drink for 7 days. Log everything that you eat and drink into MyFitnessPal for 7 days. That way you can really get a visual as to what your nutrition looks like, right? Are you actually eating vegetables and fruits on a regular basis? Are you actually eating an adequate amount of protein on a regular basis, right? Are you actually cooking the majority of your own food on a regular basis? The list goes on and on there. And then what MyFitnessPal will do, assuming that we're logging it correctly, right? That'll start to give us a ballpark number of how many calories we're actually consuming on a daily basis there. Okay. And so with nutrition and breaking that down and starting to build that awareness, that can be super valuable. On the workout side of it, assess, what am I currently doing? Have I fell off my workouts? Do I have a consistent workout routine? Am I including both strength training and cardio into the mix? If you're not working out at all, if you're not walking at all, step one is just start walking, start setting that goal of walking 7,000 steps each day, right? And then from there, that 1 hour time block, right? It takes about an hour to walk 7,000 steps. That 1 hour time block can then be transferred into a workout, and you can now start to get into a consistent workout routine. If you're looking for workout programs to follow, quick little shout out here. I have a workout app, and I also have workout ebooks. And so you can go on the website, icoachnutrition.com. You can download any of those workout programs there for free. And then if you want to sign up to be on the app, which now gives you access to tons and tons and tons of different workout programs, as well as allows you to be able to track your weights and your progress, that's something that is an app that is literally only $19 a month. Okay. So the workout side of it there, very, very important. And again, you don't want to ramp up too fast. You want to slowly start to, meet yourself where you are and slowly start to work to where you need to be. On the hydration side of it, track your fluid ounces each day, track your water intake each day, right? How many fluid ounces of water are you currently drinking on a regular basis, right? And then again, meet yourself where you are. You have to slowly start working up to that half body weight goal, because if you don't, you're going to be in the bathroom 30 times a day, right? So really make sure you meet yourself where you are and you slowly start to increase that number up. And then on the stress management side, ask yourself, if you're really, really stressed, right? What is causing that stress, right? And then what are you doing to combat that stress, right? And these are just going to be just very, very basic habits that over time, if you track them, you're going to gain a whole new level of awareness, right? And you're going to start to kind of get this 10,000 foot view around how consistent you're actually being with all of these different habits here. And so if you think about some of these things that people are doing, if you want to detox or you want to cleanse, what is that really doing, right? Like if I do a detox or I do a cleanse and I just let's say it's a juice cleanse. Well, if you just drink juice, right? If you have 3 little bottles of juice that you're supposed to drink there in the day, right? Well, that's going to significantly drop your calorie intake, right? So sure, you might see some weight loss in that first week there. You might potentially feel better just from the fasting effects of it. But ultimately, you're not going to keep doing that for the rest of your life. And so if you want to pay, however much amount of money to do one of these cleanses or these detoxes, just ask yourself, is this investment of my time and of my money, is that really worth it? Is this really going to pay off there in the long term? Or should I just actually start focusing on some of these healthy lifestyle habits and getting more consistent with them? But ultimately, the big takeaway here from this podcast, guys, is whatever you are trying, right? Whatever you are doing right here, whatever you decided to go with, it's January 26th today. Okay. And so are you still doing these things consistently? Number one, if you are, great, right? It shows that your motivation is high here in the beginning of the new year, which when you think about January, it should be high. This is where this whole newfound sense of motivation and discipline and willpower come in. You've seen it in the gym if you started working out there, right? The gyms are now all of a sudden much, much busier. But there's this fall off effect, right? As we start to get into February, into March, people start to fall off. People start to, forget why they even started this process in the beginning, right? They get busy, it's work, family obligations, whatever it may be there. But ultimately, they start becoming less and less and less consistent. And so regardless of the goal that you're trying to accomplish, consistency is the name of the game. Without consistency, you'll never get to where you want to go, right? And sometimes, we can get distracted or we can get demotivated if we aren't able to feel like, oh, I can do this for the rest of my life. Or if there's an end date on it, right? I mean, Whole30, I'm coming back to it again, just because it's so popular right now. If you don't plan on doing Whole30 after January, right, and you find yourself going back into some of these old habits, right? If you find yourself eating, not eating as well and eating out more and eating more fast food and being more reactive with your nutrition, skipping meals throughout the day, right? And get to the end of your day and you're just starving, you're ravenous, or drinking more alcohol than you'd like to, or falling off the workout program. You've got to be able to reassess, right? They'll just fall off completely. They'll just go from all in to all out. But how can you scale it back to more of a sustainable approach there? And that's the big takeaway with so many of these things. I mean, there's great things that come out of all of these different programs and diets and all of this, but there's also bad things that come out of it. And so you've got to be able to learn. You've got to be able to build awareness. You've got to be able to, essentially like run with the good and leave the bad, and continue to work on individualizing and building out your customized lifestyle, right? The lifestyle that's actually going to work for you long term. And if you can do that, then when you get to the end of this year here, you're not going to feel like you have to do a detox or a reset or go from one extreme to the other. You're going to be able to just focus on playing the long game, trusting the process, and being consistent. Now, I can sit here and talk all day long. I can give you all the tips in the world. I can give you all the education in the world, all the information in the world. But the fact of the matter is it's 2022 and all that is out there everywhere. You've heard these things before. You need to prioritize your sleep. You need to exercise on a consistent basis. You need to prioritize your nutrition. You need to, stay hydrated. You need to manage your stress. Right. And it's really, really easy for us to say that we're doing it, or it's really even easy to think that you're doing a great job here in the new year when motivation is high. But if you're not tracking these things, or if you're not working one-on-one with a coach, or if you're not putting accountability into your life, right, then it's going to be really, really hard for you to achieve long-term success, especially when it comes to weight loss. Right? Achieving sustainable weight loss is such a big part of that, is connecting the knowing to the doing. Right. And what connects the knowing to the doing is accountability. And if you don't have accountability in your life, it's going to be extremely hard for you to be able to accomplish whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. And so I don't want this podcast to go super long here. I could probably chat all day about it. But what I want to do is I want to give you an invite. I want to invite you into the iCoach Nutrition and Training Family private Facebook group. This is where I have all of the clients that I'm currently working with one-on-one, all of the clients that I've worked with over the last 12 years. And it's just an awesome community of education and support. So search on Facebook, iCoach Nutrition and Training Family, request to join the group. I'll add you in there. And what you're going to receive once you get inside is Facebook Lives, similar to this, like the podcast, right? You're going to be able to see all of my clients that are in there doing their post-call updates, which is them basically sharing their takeaways from our coaching calls, their focuses, that they're working on every single week there. You're going to be able to have some accountability in terms of a community feel. And then there's tons of resources in there as well. Everything from YouTube videos to infographics to cooking videos to meal prep to recipes to, the list goes on and on and on and on. And so if you're looking for help, right, in this new year, or maybe you're listening to this podcast after this first month of January and you're like, man, I was on it. I was being really consistent. Like everything was going well. And then XYZ happened, right? This is just a friendly reminder here with this podcast as to you need community, you need support, you need accountability. And what better way to start than to go into that Facebook group, which is absolutely free to you, and to be able to get that and to start that process, or to get back on, get back into a normal routine, get back into the grind of it. And then from there, once you're able to be in that group and learn from that group, then if you still feel like you need one-on-one coaching, right? Which so many people do. I mean, this is really what moves the needle the most. That's when you can be able to apply for coaching. You can apply to work with me one-on-one. And I'd love to set you up with a free consultation, a free strategy call. And in that call, we'll take, whatever, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever we need. And I will literally I will help you customize and individualize your plan for 2022 to help you, right? To help you to achieve success, to help you to achieve sustainable weight loss, if that's your goal. And to essentially help you to break the cycle, right? If you're somebody that's been a lifelong dieter that has struggled with your weight your whole entire life, if you've lost weight, gained it back, lost weight, gained it back, and now you're getting to a point in your life where you're starting to blame things like my age or my hormones, or, I'm so confused with all the conflicting information that's out there. These are all very, very valid excuses. These are very valid reasons as to why you're not being able to find success. But I would argue that being able to find somebody that's a good fit, somebody that understands you, somebody that cares, right, about you and your goals, and somebody that's willing to meet you where you are and go above and beyond to make sure that you find long-term success, then I would definitely encourage you to apply for coaching there. Again, go into the Facebook group. That's absolutely free. Go on the website. There's a book that I wrote. It's 115 pages of everything that you need to know about nutrition. You can download that for free. There's so many free resources that are out there, but ultimately at the end of the day, the information is out there everywhere. And as you keep consuming more and more and more and more information, if you're not getting to where you want to be, you've got to take a second and step back and say, hey, if I was going to do this on my own, I would have already done this by now. Maybe I need a group. Maybe I need community. Again, still free access there. And then from there, leveling up and saying, you know what, actually, I need one-on-one coaching, right? I need one-on-one accountability. I need somebody that's going to be in my corner, that's going to be on my team, that's going to help me to see this process through and to hold me accountable for the things that I say that I want to do, right? And hold me accountable and help me build the life that I say that I want to live. So that's what I'll encourage you with, guys, here as we're kicking off the new year, as we're finishing out January here. The month is almost over, month 1 of 12 for 2022. Where are you at right now? How are you doing in terms of the goals that you've set for yourself? And ultimately asking yourself the question, is what I'm doing right now, is this sustainable? All right. Are these things that I can actually do for the rest of my life? If you chose to cut out carbs, right? Or if you chose to cut out whatever it is that you decided to cut out, can you actually do this for the rest of your life, right? There's the other thing that comes to mind here is the dry January. There's a lot of people right now doing dry January because they drank way too much in November and December, right? All or nothing mentalities have got to go, okay? Finding balance, and through finding balance, you've got to be able to create awareness. And the only way that you create awareness is by being able to actually track your day-to-day habits and start to learn, what are the things that I'm being consistent with? What are the things that I'm not being consistent with? And how do I start to bridge that gap through accountability? How do I place more accountability into my life so that I can start to not just achieve whatever the goal is that's current here, but to really set you up to build momentum, right? And to actually achieve long-term success, long-term results, right? Not just quick fixes, not just little fads, not just things that are you going all in for a short period of time only to go right back out. And so I'm rambling here a little bit, but here's your formal invite, right? Send me a message on any of the social media platforms here if you want to chat more. I'm more than happy to help you and to answer your questions and to schedule a free strategy call. I'm not going to pitch you or try to get you to sign up to work with me or anything like that. Or if you don't want to reach out, if you don't feel comfortable with that, that's okay. Request to join the Facebook group, hop into that. Marinate on that content, kind of, peek around and look at everybody that's in there that's finding success, be able to learn from them, be able to start implementing some of these things. If any of y'all want a custom habit tracker, I will send that custom habit tracker to y'all. That's something that can really, really help you to be able to start tracking this stuff and start having really a 10,000-foot view around how consistent you're actually being with all of these things that you say that you want to be doing there in your life. And so there's your formal invite. Guys, I just want to make sure that we see success. Anybody that's listening to this podcast here, anybody that's watching this video on YouTube, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the investment that you've put in here, right? Because whether it's financial or whether it's time, they both are an investment. And so ultimately, you just got to find somebody that you trust. You got to find somebody that you resonate with. You got to find somebody that you feel like can help take you from where you are today to the person that you want to become. So I'd be honored to be able to help you in whatever way that I can there. And guys, it's Wednesday. Happy hump day. Hope y'all have an amazing week thus far. I hope you're crushing your goals here in 2022. And if you're not, if you need help, or if you're worried about with what you're doing, if you can actually do that for the rest of your life, if you think, if you're concerned, if it's actually going to be a sustainable approach, please don't hesitate to reach out, shoot me a DM. Let's get you into the community. Let's hop on a strategy call. Let's do the thing with one-on-one coaching if you feel like that's going to be a good fit for you. Whatever it is here, just I want to welcome you. I want to make you have a place that you feel like you can actually trust, right? Information that you can actually trust, so that you don't feel like you're, turning the wheels there and trying a million different things and not ever actually achieving the results that you're looking for there. So guys, thank you again. Appreciate you as always. And cheers to February coming up here. February 4th, it's going to be 4 years since I started my business. So I'm super humbled, super grateful for everybody that's been a part of this journey thus far for me. And yeah, cheers to 2022. Let's get it.